The member from Wabasha, Representative Drazkowski.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, a very interesting bill in front of us today. Well, before I get into that, Madam Speaker, would Representative Christensen yield for question?
She will. Representative Drazkowski.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Representative Christensen, in this bill, how do we know that information that illegal immigrants place in their license will actually be accurate or truthful?
Representative Christensen.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Representative Drazkowski. I'd have to read the bill a little closer. I don't have it right in front of me right now.
Representative Drazkowski.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Will Representative Christensen, the pages will bring you a bill if you push your button. I've had one in front of me for the entire discussion. It's also on your computer. You can type in HF1500 and the bill will come up right in front of you. I encourage you to read the bill before you vote on it. Madam Speaker, would Representative Cantrell yield to a question?
He will yield. Representative Drazkowski.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Representative Cantrell, this bill brings us one step closer to making Minnesota a sanctuary state. Are you in favor of making your community of Savage, Minnesota, a sanctuary city?
The member from Scott, Representative Cantrell.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Representative Drazkowski. In Savage, Minnesota, we have a large and vibrant immigrant community. They are our neighbors, they are our friends, and I want to say that I think this bill, the subject of this debate, I think this bill will bring us one step closer to saying, in Minnesota, we recognize you with human dignity. That is the answer to your question, Representative Drazkowski. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Drazkowski.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Sounded like a resounding yes, Representative Cantrell. I expect you're probably going to vote for the bill. Representative Tabke, would Representative Tabke yield, Madam Speaker?
The other member from Scott, Representative Tabke, or one of the other members from Scott. He will yield. Representative Drazkowski.
I'll try to get to all of them, Madam Speaker. Representative Tabke, driving is a privilege in this country, not a right. Do you believe illegal immigrants should be given a special privilege in this country and state compared to citizens and legal residents?
Representative Tabke.
Madam Speaker and Representative Drazkowski, thank you very much for the question. I believe that it is the right of everyone here in Minnesota to have full and great lives who are here. I believe the federal government is failing miserably in their ability to manage immigration, and that is why we're in the issue that we are in, the situation that we're in today. And I believe that this bill is the right thing to do, and I support it fully.
Representative Drazkowski.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Representative Tabke, you didn't answer the question, but it is a privilege, and this bill, Representative Tabke, in a variety of places gives people who are here illegally special privileges that all of the citizens and all of the legal residents in your district will not enjoy. So I hope you consider that, Representative Tabke, when you vote on this bill. Madam Speaker, would Representative Wozlawik yield for a question?
She will yield. Representative Drazkowski.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I've been told the pronunciation correctly. Wozlawik. Thank you for yielding, Representative Wozlawik. This bill makes every road and highway in Minnesota become a sanctuary for illegal immigrants. Do you favor the creation of such a sanctuary?
Madam Speaker, point of order.
Representative Halverson, for what purpose do you rise?
Point of order, Madam Speaker.
State your point of order.
Madam Speaker, under Mason's Section 114, subdivision 5 regarding questioning of members. The questioning of members should only relate to what we are debating, what is the question before the body, and not extend outside the scope of that. Now, Representative Drazkowski has questioned members outside the scope of the question before the body numerous times today, and I request that the debate be limited to the question before the body, Madam Speaker.
Members, I will defer ruling, but the rules of the House, the custom and usage, and Masons all dictate that the debate should be confined to the subject matter of the bill and not personalities and not subject matters outside of the bill. Representative Drazkowski.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would suggest that I am not talking about subject matter outside of the bill. We're talking about what the effect of this bill will be on the people of Minnesota and the future of our state. And if we can't talk about that, there is something wrong, because that, members, is why we are here. I'm wondering if Representative Wozlowick is still willing to yield to the question I offered, Madam Speaker.
She is. Representative Wozlowick.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. To your question, Representative Drazkowski, I think that this bill will help make our roads safer. Having folks who have licenses and insurance on driving on our roads will ensure that the rest of us who are driving with those folks are safer as well.
Representative Drazkowski.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Well, Representative Wozlowick, I don't see how this bill makes anyone safer. I just can't see it. Would Representative Morrison yield for a question, Madam Speaker?
She will yield. Representative Drazkowski.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Representative Morrison, in this bill, it shields illegal immigrants in circumstances from being turned over to the authorities. Why do you support that?
The member from Hennepin, Representative Morrison.
Madam Speaker, Representative Drazkowski, this bill is about public safety. It's not relevant to your question. I'm going to vote for it because I agree with Representative Wozlowick that it will make our roads safer. Thanks.
Representative Drazkowski.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Representative Morrison, I encourage you to read the bill close. I don't know if, I don't know, Representative Christensen said she hadn't read the bill. I don't know if you read it or not, but there's several provisions in this bill that provide the ability for shield people who are here illegally from law enforcement, specifically in this bill. And if you're going to support the bill, you're voting for that. I don't understand that. Would Representative Clevorn yield, Madam Speaker?
Representative Clevorn will yield. Representative Drazkowski.
Representative Clevorn, do you believe in the type of special treatments in this bill for certain groups?
Representative Clevorn.
Representative Drazkowski, I have had the great fortune of twice living outside of the United States. I was not a citizen of the countries in which I resided. Those countries afforded me an opportunity to study for the exam, to purchase insurance, and to drive safely on the roads. I saw that that was a great benefit to me and to the other drivers on the road. I think that is something that we, the United States, people who are compassionate, people who are understanding of the needs of others, can do. I don't believe that it harms a single member of this body for people to be educated on the rules of the road, and I don't think citizenship makes you a good driver or a poor driver. I think knowing the rules, having insurance, and following the rules of the road are what matter. Thank you.
Representative Drazkowski.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Well, Representative Clevorn, this bill gives people...
Her name is Representative Cleavorn.
Cleavorn. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Representative Cleavorn, this bill gives people who are here illegally special privileges. And for us to have a double standard in law, Madam Speaker and members, I'll go through some of them in the bill. It was mentioned earlier during some of the debate, but you know, members, if you turn to lines 3.23 and 3.24 through 3.25 on the bill, there's two of them right there. Similar documentation of a lawful change of name as determined by the commissioner. And members, we're going to turn this over to the commissioner for him to write much of this bill. So when you vote for this bill, we're turning it over to the commissioner to decide what a lot of this is going to be. The next point, the commissioner must establish a process to grant a waiver from the requirements under this subdivision and subdivisions 9 and 10. Not only do we give special privileges to illegal immigrants in this bill, we give the commissioner the ability to exempt them from those very special privileges that are outlined in the bill. We are ceding our authority as a legislature and the people of Minnesota to one person in Tim Walz's administration, the commissioner, to further define and redefine what was intended in the bill. Madam Speaker, would Representative Mann yield for a question? I hope I got that pronunciation right.
Could you repeat the name that you requested?
Representative Mann, Madam Speaker.
You pulled it off, Representative Drazkowski. She will yield. Representative Drazkowski.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I appreciate your affirmation. Representative Mann, this bill will actually incentivize illegal immigration. You heard Representative Gruenhagen talk about that. We're going to become a super magnet for illegal immigration because we've got these special privileges now for illegal immigrants in Minnesota. In the bill, do you believe that there should be more illegal immigration happening to our state?
Representative Mann.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Representative, so I am going to risk my life, my family's life, my children's life. I'm going to go through the desert. I'm going to put them on a boat. I'm going to do all sorts of crazy things to get them to safety so I can get a driver's license. Said no one ever. Representatives, I am an immigrant. I came to this country 31 years ago from a brown country. And I have been a citizen of this country for the last 20 years. 2 years ago, I went to renew my passport. I have a passport because I am a citizen. And when I got there at the office, they told me I needed to reproduce my naturalization papers from 31 years ago because I, and I quote, am a threat to national security. My 3 children live here. My husband lives here. I obviously live here. My 3 brothers, a police officer, a restaurant owner, and a merchant marine live here. My parents live here. And when I was told that I needed to come up with that paperwork, I was scared. Luckily, my mother keeps everything. And so the paperwork was pristine, but I didn't actually need it, right? Because I am a citizen and I have a passport, but I needed it on that day. And again, I was scared. And I can only imagine the level of fear that other people have to live with every day. And why? Why do we want people to live in fear? What good does it do you when other people are fearful for their lives and for their well-being? People don't immigrate because it's fun, because they have nothing better to do. They leave everything they know, every person they know, the language they know, the customs they know, they leave all of that behind under very dire circumstances. And all this bill does is that it says that if you end up here, we will have some compassion, and we will allow you to live. We will allow you to take your kids to school and go to work so that you can feed them. And the alternative is what I saw last fall when I went to work in a Syrian refugee camp, and where I saw more human suffering than I have ever imagined. And to this day, it keeps me awake at night. But that's the alternative, is we lock people up in a cage and we tell them, you're illegal. You don't belong here. We're not going to incorporate you into sites. We're going to put you in a cage and you're going to live in fear. And we are going to waste human lives. We're going to waste human potential. For what? So I will be voting green on this bill, and I encourage everyone else to do the same.
Representative Drazkowski.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I don't know that Representative Mann's comments addressed illegal immigration, but they talked about she's a legal immigrant. I married a legal immigrant, and the legal immigrants that I know don't sign up for the notion that we provide special privileges for illegal immigrants. People who get budged ahead of in line don't like that. Madam Speaker, this bill is not about driving. It includes state ID cards too. Not about driving. It's about granting illegal immigrants the ability to camouflage their illegal status. That's what the bill's about. This provides a gateway to voting for illegal aliens. It will provide a passport to other identification forms that can be used to vote. And members, the discussion about the special notation on the front of the driver's license, members, the election judges are prohibited from asking for your driver's license or state ID card. The election judges aren't even going to be looking at this card. So that discussion was completely off base. This bill gives illegal immigrants special protections from law enforcement that Minnesota citizens don't enjoy. And if you're caught speeding more than 10 miles above the speed limit, the police can report you to your insurance company or any of your legal constituents. But under this bill, law enforcement is forbidden from informing other entities of traffic violations by someone with a provisional license. Members, this bill is not going to become law. It's simply a platform for Minnesota Democrats to exercise their radical ideology by making Minnesota a de facto sanctuary state. Thank you, Madam Speaker.